Kia ora, welcome back once again, everybody. Here with another reaction, this time to Master Sergeant Roy Benavidez and his full speech that he gave. So the first reaction that I gave or did to Master Sergeant Benavidez was it only had bits and pieces of him talking and parts of President Reagan speaking and when he awarded him the Medal of Honor. So yeah, we will I'll get to hear him for the first time giving his full speech. Thank you to those that have sent this link through. Very much appreciated. So let's jump in.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias, like I say in Spanish, in German, Dankeschön, in Japanese, arigato ne, and in French, merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. I don't speak those languages fluently, but I'll never get lost in those countries if I ever go there. Thank you very much to the $1 Million Roundtable for inviting me to come and be along with these other eloquent speakers. I come from a little town named Cuero, Texas. I was born there, the turkey capital of the world. After the death of my mother and father, at an early age, my brother and I were adopted by an aunt and uncle. We moved to El Campo, Texas, town southwest of Houston, about an hour and a half. I was raised there. I went to school there. I worked at odd jobs there, shined shoes, sold papers, picked cotton. And like a fool, I dropped out of school and I ran away from home. I'm not proud of that. I needed to learn the skill. I needed an education. My adopted father would tell me, son, an education and a diploma is the key to success. Bad habits and bad company will ruin you. Well, I was too old to go back to school. I didn't want to return back, so I joined.
Bad habits and bad company will ruin you. Man, awesome advice. Awesome advice for anybody, not just, just life in general. I love also his, I can't remember all the languages that he used, but Japanese is one, saying arigato, thanking them, merci beaucoup in French, I think was the last one that he mentioned. I can't remember the other languages that he used, but just that little piece of acknowledgement and learning those I've spoken about in other videos. Taking the time, just to learn little bits and pieces, a few little words, maybe a phrase, can go a long way within the different areas or countries that you might be in at a time, not just as military, but just for any one of us, just traveling around as a civilian. So anyway, back into this.
On the Texas National Guard, and I liked what I saw in men in uniform. And I qualified to join the regular Army. I needed that education and learn the skill. So I was accepted into the regular Army. Then I heard about the airborne. I heard about that extra pay that you get for jumping out of airplanes. So I qualified to go to jump school at Fort Bend, Georgia. But the darn recruiters never told me what the training was like. For every mistake that you make, you do push-ups. And I can honestly tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm one of the guys that helped put Georgia into South Carolina doing push-ups. Well, I finished my training. I got assigned to a well-known unit at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, the 82nd Airborne Division. I like the 82nd, thank you. Airborne all the way. I like that. And so after a while there, I heard about the Special Forces. You know it as the Green Berets. And they were coming up. So I qualified to join the Special Forces. Of course, I'm a linguist. We in the Special Forces are trained to operate deep behind enemy lines with little or no support at all. We are trained in 5 specialties. I'm trained in 3. Operation intelligence, where I learn oceanography, meteorology, photography. I'm an interrogator and I'm a linguist. I'm trained in light and heavy weapons and cross-trained as a medic.
Well, sorry, I didn't realize I heard him just say he's a linguist as well. So with regards to his use of languages, he said he wasn't fluent in them, but I can't remember his exact words, but that he wouldn't be lost in those countries if he found himself there from time to time. Sorry, my thing is slipping. So yeah, awesome to hear. So they've got 5 specialties. He was trained in 3 of them. High level, man.
I've been all over the world, the Far East, Europe, South and Central America, and 2 tours in Vietnam. I was assigned to Berlin, Germany, and I was declared one time that I was the only Hispanic American that could speak German with a Southern accent. Vielen Dank, Dankeschön. So I came back and retrained at Fort Bragg, and Vietnam was brewing up. In 1965, I was sent to Vietnam as an advisor to a Vietnamese infantry unit. After a short period of time there, I stepped on a mine. I woke up in the Philippine Islands in Clark Air Force Base. I was paralyzed from the waist down. I was declared never to walk again. I was transferred to Fort Sam Houston, Texas, Beach Pavilion. The doctors were initiating my medical discharge papers. But at night, I would slip out of bed and crawl to a wall, using my elbows and my chin. My back would just be killing me. I'd be crying. But I'd get to the wall, and I'd set myself against the wall, and I'd back myself up against the wall, and I'd stand there like Elijah, the Indian. I'd stand there and move my toes, right and left, right. Every single chance I got. I wanted to walk. I wanted to go back to Vietnam.
Holy heck. So he's gone into Vietnam as an advisor. He's stood on a mine, paralyzed from the waist down, told he'll never walk again. And at night time in the hospital, or he's woken up in a hospital, if I've heard this right. At night time, even after all of that, he's crawling to the wall in the hospital, in the room that he's in, and just on his arms, using his chin, crawling like you mentioned, and pulling himself up on the wall, moving, trying to move his toes. I think I heard him say he was crying. Just in, I can't imagine just the pain that he would have been in, but his overwhelming desire to want to walk again. Wow. And this is, so if I'm listening to this right, this would be before his actions that saw him earn and be awarded the Medal of Honor. And let's play it.
Because of what the news media was saying about us, our president was not needed there, to burn the flag, what. And I saw a lot of other patients coming back, limbs missing. I wanted to go back. I was determined. Because I remember when I was taught in jump school, our old master sergeant would tell me, Benavidez, quitters never win and winners never quit. What are you? So I'm a winner. And I remember in my special forces.
Beautiful, eh? Quitters never win, winners never quit. What are you? Great advice for anybody. For me, great advice for me, great advice for anybody who happens to come across and listen to this gentleman. May he rest in peace. Give this speech. Thank you again to those that sent me the link for this video for his full speech.
Thank you. And I remember my special forces training, one of the training missions that I was on, I remember that my leader would tell me, faith, determination, and a positive attitude. A positive attitude will carry you further than ability. You can do it, Benavidez. You can do it.
Holy heck. Faith, determination, and a positive attitude is what I heard. And that a positive attitude will carry you further than any talent or ability. Something like that anyway, from what I just heard him say. But I really resonate with that. A positive attitude is, yeah, it's just so important. It's easy to go down that dark, dreary road and to just feel like the whole world is against you and to feel like there's no way out of it. I can connect to that because I, like many others, I believe, have been through that, and or some may be still going through that right now. And yeah, there's a lot to be said about trying to shift this thing and have a more positive mindset and a more positive outlook, and to try to take the positive from those things, especially those things that are wanting to drag us and tear us down.
I never forgot those 3 words. Never. So there I was at night. I'd slip out of bed. The nurses would catch me sometime. They would chew me out, give me a pill, a sleeping pill, put me to sleep. They would tell the doctors in the morning. I was determined to win. 9 months later, here comes my medical discharge paper. And I told the doctor, look what I can do. He said, Sergeant, I'm sorry. Even if you can stand up, you'll never be able to walk. I jumped out of bed and I stood up right before him. My back was hurting, aching. I was crying. And I moved just a little bit. The doctor said, Benavidez, if you walk out of this room, I'll tear the papers up. I walked out of that ward at Beach Pavilion.
How cool is that? Kudos to that doctor too, because the doctor could have easily just stood his ground and said no. You've stood on a mine, been blown up, you're paralyzed from the waist down. The doctor could have easily, I'd imagine, stand his ground and go, nope, you're medically discharged. But he saw him move. I guess the nurses that he spoke about that would catch him, give him a sleeping pill, tell him off, blah, blah, blah. Then they'd tell the doctors and that the next day of what he had been up to. Clearly, that doctor must have got word or got news and understood how much this man wanted to serve his country and go back into Vietnam and to do the job that he signed up to do. And to give him that option, wow, if you walk out of this room, I'll tear these papers up. And he walked out, and the doctor, bless him, true to his word, sounds like, or clearly, ripped up those papers.
I walked out with a limp. I went back to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I started my therapy again, running 5 or 10 miles a day, doing 50, 100 push-ups. And I made 3 parachute jumps in one day. I was ready to go back to Vietnam, physically and mentally ready to go back.
Holy heck. What did he say? 5 to 10 miles, not kilometers, 5 to 10 miles a day. 50 to 100 push-ups. He was probably doing more than that. There was probably a conservative number from him, just based on the sheer grit, the determination, the willpower to do what he was doing in the hospital. So I reckon he's probably been pretty conservative on the push-ups and stuff that he was doing. And then completed the 3 parachute jumps in the day, whether that must have been a requirement or whatever their process was. And yeah, re-qualified to be able to deploy again. Incredible, man. Just gives me a small glimpse and insight into just what we're capable of doing, as people, regardless of who you are, where you come from. Just gives me a deeper insight into this thing up here and just how capable we are and how capable we allow ourselves to be through our thoughts and through the actions that we choose to take, or the lack of action that we choose to, or the lack of action through the things that we choose not to do. All right.
My orders were to go to Central America as an advisor But being a non-commissioned officer and knowing some of the good officers in the right places, my orders were diverted. So, so, so I went back to Vietnam in 1968. The latter part of April, I was inserted, my buddy and I, to gather intelligence information behind enemy lines. After 2 days on the ground, my buddy was shot through the eye, the back, and legs. Our mission was completed, but I didn't want to leave my buddy behind. I called in for an extraction helicopter to come and get us out. They came in with the McGuire rig. McGuire rig is nothing but a piece of rope, nylon rope, with a hook. In this case, there was 2 ropes. We hooked on, the enemy was firing at us. We pulled up, going up through the canopy of the jungle. Our rope started to twist and rub. You know, nylon, it burns when it rubs. As we cleared the canopy, our ropes were completely twisted and rubbing. And there was a non-commissioned officer that looked out of the helicopter. He was riding as a safety man. And when he saw those 2 ropes burning, he immediately tied himself with a piece of rope around his waist, and he pulled himself out of the helicopter and undid those 2 ropes, separated them. That's dedication. That's love of fellow man and country. I'll never forget that man.
Wow, that is awesome. Just to hear the crewy in the chopper, to do that for the men down below. Yeah, nylon ropes, nylon on nylon, rubbing away, friction, burning. It'll just melt. And those 2 guys could have just plummeted back to the earth, you know. Far out, but just this guy, not prepared. He's not willing to leave anybody behind. Hang on, this thing is bloody no good today. I'm gonna have to change. But he's not willing to leave anybody behind that's injured, that's hurt, that's suffering, that's potentially at death's door. He's far out. What a man. What a man. Geez, I'll play this.
And the enemy was still firing at us, but they never shot us. We landed in a safe spot. My buddy was taken to the hospital shortly thereafter he expired. I was in another staging area waiting for our next assignment. When I heard on the radio something like a popcorn machine, then I heard a voice, "Get us out of here, get us out of here, come in and get us out quick, ASAP."
Hey, I'm going to pause this here. I'm going to come back and do a second part of this speech from Master Sergeant Roy Benavidez, but just wanted to acknowledge, said, you know, his mate, unfortunately, he used the term expired, the mate that they got chopped out of on the nylon rope. So rest in peace to him as well. But man, everything just from what I've heard. Again, thank you to those that sent this video through. It's awesome. I'm going to be trying to keep these videos around about the 20-25 minute mark going forward. There's just that many to do. So it means that hopefully I can katia taku waha, or close my mouth a bit longer and let things play out a bit more. And then hopefully add in my reactions as and where, or maybe a little bit more effectively than have been in the past. But appreciate you all. Really just grateful to see this speech and to hear it from his words, like all together. This next part of the speech, which he's just going into, I think I've heard bits and pieces of that from the earlier reaction that I did, but it'll be good. There's still about 10 or so minutes left to go of this speech for it to run in full. So I'll come back and wrap this one up, and then I'll do another reaction to the second part of this video. So again, appreciate you all. Appreciate your time, your support, your encouragement here on my channel. If you haven't seen already, I've put up a post recently in and around the goals for the channel, based on, you know, what I want to do with the channel and where I see things heading. It's a scary goal to talk about. To just even put down in that post was scary. To verbalize it and talk about it is even scarier. So for those that may not know or may not be aware, based on the growth that I've been fortunate to experience over the last couple of months, or since the 15th of March of starting the channel, My wife gave me some really good counsel, reminded me of a few things of what I've been doing anyway, and finished it off with, hey, you don't ask, you don't get, hey. I've shared that a many number of times with our own children as well. And yeah, it was just timely, good for me to hear. So I've taken on board her advice, listened to that, and then put it out there. So striving to work towards trying to hit 500,000 subscribers before the end of this year, 2025. Is that a smart goal process? Did I use the specific, measurable, achievable, realistic time frame? Like, does it fit into that category? Did I even get that right? Hey, I don't know. One thing I do know is that what I've been doing with the channel so far hasn't followed any of those SMART principles or goals, right or wrong. A lot of it has been by the seat of my pants and doing things because I enjoy it, because I'm connected to it, and because I hope that in some small way people may get a benefit out of what I do, and that the messages that I share may hopefully resonate with people as well. So I feel that the positivity, when he spoke about a positive mindset, that's where my mindset is, and I plan on keep going anyway. So now that I verbalize it, it doesn't sound as scary. Does it sound achievable? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Time will tell. What I do know is that even if I don't achieve that within that time frame, I'm just going to keep turning up. Like my wife said that I share in my videos, I'll just keep turning up. I'll keep staying in the fight. I'll keep putting one foot in front of the other. And I know and trust that good things will eventually happen. And those good things have already been happening anyway. So for me to not take for granted those things and to just recognize and understand that. So again, appreciate you all. As always, anybody going through any challenges, trials, struggles, if you've got any goals, your own aspirations, the things that you want to achieve, man, I encourage you, keep turning up, keep staying in the fight, keep putting one foot in front of the other. Know and trust that you are far more capable. You and I are far more capable than we think. And here's an example of this gentleman here, Master Sergeant Benavidez, Medal of Honor, rest in peace to this gentleman. Here's an example if ever I wanted one, or if ever you wanted one, of just what we're capable if we put our minds to it. So, as always, people, go always a little further. Remember, who dares wins. And until the next video, from me to you, a big mana wave filled with my aroha, respect, appreciation, and gratitude for you all.